there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So I'm going to do a little results video, just a short one. I'm not going to do all of the leagues, I'm not going to do all of the scores. I just want to talk about some of the matches that I've been watching recently over the Christmas period, and because I'm trying to keep that balance. Some of you say in the comment section you don't like it when I leave certain leagues out, but then others of you say that you really like it when I talk about a match in more detail. So I'm going to I can't always do both. So today I'm going to talk about fewer leagues, but talk about the matches that I've been catching up on over the holiday period. Obviously with a lot of time on my hands, I've been watching a lot of football and playing a lot of FM Manager as well. Okay, so let's do that then. We'll start with the Premier League, but I'll also be talking about matches that I've seen in Serie A and in La Liga in Spain as well, and the Bundesliga. So yeah, we're going to focus on those four leagues today, and I hope you... Oh, and the Championship, obviously, because I've been watching Swansea. So I hope that you enjoy this video and this slightly different, more ramble format, talking in depth about things that I've seen. And we'll catch up on all of the leagues in a future video coming very soon. Okay, Liverpool top. Arsenal second, Chelsea third, Nottingham Forest fourth. They were up to third the other day. Newcastle in fifth now. Bournemouth. Then Man City, who are just really, really in a bad shape. Fulham. And then Tottenham down in 12th. Manchester United really struggling as well, down in 14th. And then Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton at the very bottom. Okay, so things to catch up on. So Southampton sacked their manager and got in Juric. Now, he has just been sacked from one of the teams that I really support, AS Roma, where he was a complete disaster. So when I found out that he got the Southampton job, I was a bit shocked, but then I remembered that during his time, I believe it was at Torino, he actually was, moderately successful. He took a team as high up the table as he could with his tactics. He got maybe, where did Torino come, 7th or 8th or something, on the bridge of getting into Europe. Torino are a decent club within Italy, but they're not, one of the Seven Sisters, for example. So to get that high is really, really good in Italian football. He plays a very possession-based, high-lined pressing game, and I think Southampton's current squad, it won't be that much of a transition from what Russell Martin was doing. It didn't work with Roma. He was a complete disaster, and he ended up conceding goals right, left and centre, partially because this was the squad that was formed under Jose Mourinho, that we're used to, sitting back, low block, no pressing, just counter-attacking, to an extent counter-attacking, but not a quick counter-attack. They don't have any quick players, Roma, or didn't at the time. So yeah, I think that Southampton are better placed to adopt his tactics, and he managed to get a draw in his first game, but then he lost his second one slightly, only 1-0, whereas Roma was losing every match 3-2, 4-3, things like that. It was a bit crazy. So and after Fulham's recent result, there's actually quite a decent one away to Fulham. I think it'll possibly be enough to keep them up. I don't like him, but I think his tactics will work with this squad in this context. I think he'll pick up enough results maybe to save them. So he could be a bit of a good signing, but then if Southampton fans think that they're going to progress and start getting top of the table or something under him, then I would not say that that's ever going to happen. He's not that coach. So that's what I know about Southampton's new manager. Obviously the Ipswich manager is under pressure in the media, but apparently not by fans. They don't care that McKenna has done so well for them. I just don't think that Ipswich fans have any interest in changing. And I said McKenna, I'm just going to check. Yeah, Kieran McKenna. He brought them up. Didn't he bring them up from League One in successive seasons to the Premier League? So yeah, I think the Ipswich fans are actually a lot more value him a lot more and remember what he's actually given to them. And it was always going to be challenging to be in the Premier League anyway. So, and they're not doing terribly. They're only like one win from safety at the second. So, as long as it stays by that, I don't think Ipswich fans will be particularly interested in letting him go. Obviously, Leicester have also just sacked their manager and got a new one, Ruud van Nistelrooy, who I thought did brilliant in the interim period of him being Man United manager. I think his results are so far way better, like 100% better than Ruben Amorim's, which is curious, right? So, Ruben Amorim's already sort of come out and said, if I don't start winning soon, I'm under pressure, and I always thought this was going to be a hard job. But is he? Did he think it was going to be as hard as it is? Because Ruud made it look easy. He had like 3 games and he won them all, didn't he? So, based on those 3 matches, which I think I happened to watch about 2 of them live on telly, I think he's a good manager, and we'll see what he can do with Leicester. He's not been in post very long, and obviously he had Liverpool the other day, so good luck. Not great results there though, 4-0 and 3-0. I think that's the issue. We'll see how it goes. Everton finding a bit of form, but they've got the in-form team, Nottingham Forest, next. We'll see how that goes. I'm so pleased. I love it when on this channel, you'll know, I always talk about Serie A giving us shocks and surprising us, and the fact that last year we had Girona in Spain getting Champions League, Bologna in Serie A, and in the Bundesliga, was it Stuttgart? So that doesn't tend to happen in the Premier League that often. So if Nottingham Forest get into the Champions League, I'd be absolutely chuffed for them. So pleased. Okay, obviously we need to talk about Spurs, as always. Spurs, I watch a lot of their games because they do tend to be televised. They are always entertaining, and as I explained in my previous Q&A video, that I watch teams that have got Welsh players in them, and I'm a massive fan of Brennan Johnson. So yeah, I've caught up with a lot of Spurs games this year, and what I can say is I think they do deserve to be much higher up the table than they are, but also I maintain that he needs to have a plan B. Like, you can't be 2-0 up and just go gung-ho as if it's the last 5 minutes and you're trying to desperately get a goal or even 2 goals. They're playing too aggressively and they just don't have a plan B, and they're human beings at the end of the day. They're not going to be able to do that for 90 minutes, and even if they physically could, should they? You're not going to win them every game 10-0. If you're 2 goals up, statistically speaking, I think there's some crazy stat like if you're winning a match by 2 goals, 70 or 80% of situations you shouldn't lose a match. How can they? They need to just. I'm not saying sit back. I'm not saying do Italy in the 90s where they used to score a goal and just sit back for the 85 minutes because they knew they could get a 1-0 win. I'm talking about like actually just be a bit more conservative. Don't throw your full-backs to the top of the pitch and leave 2 people defending, and then of those 2 people defending, have one of them close down the ball. Just there was an incident. Which game were they against? I think it was the Liverpool. No, it was before that. I didn't see the Man United Cup game. Which one was it? It might have been the Rangers goal, because I watched that match, and I think there was a scenario where they had the 2 fullbacks pushed forward, and obviously they play it like on the halfway line, don't they? So high up. But Dragoshin went to the Rangers striker to close him down and missed the header, and then it was like 3-on-1 because the Rangers just had 3 players ready to go, and there was 1 defender left by himself. The 2 fullbacks were right up the pitch pretending to be wingers, and Dragoshin had pushed forward. Well, don't push forward, just let him head the ball. He's not going to do anything. There's like an entire half of a pitch to go till you're ahead. Why are you going into their half to win a ball? Just stay there. crazy. And obviously at the minute they've got no defenders for it fit at all. Davis, the Welshman, has just had a reoccurrence of his injury in training. He can't play. They've got red cards, injuries. Basically, they have no central defenders in the entire squad. So, yeah, it's going kind of really crazy. He reckons in an interview, I think he said he's got like 9 or 10 players injured at the minute. Absolutely bonkers. And then talking about injured, we've got Arsenal, who Saka is apparently on his hamstring injury. He's had an operation. He's going to be out for about 2 months. Scary. If I were an Arsenal fan, I'd be a bit scared, because who's going to score the goals? At the very least, they've still got the Norwegian in the middle there, but it's a bit scary. Maybe they need to buy a striker urgently in January. But notoriously, buying in January is very difficult, and finding a world-class striker that's going to help you win a league even harder. So Liverpool must be absolutely overjoyed. They're already, what's this? They got a game in hand, and they're 6 points ahead, and they just look unstoppable. So yeah, cannot believe the job Arne Slot is doing. Absolutely amazing. There's just been no transitional hiccup whatsoever. In fact, I think he's actually doing better. Liverpool fans, let me know in the comment section. I think he's actually doing better than Klopp, which seemed like literally impossible. Think about all the other transitions. So you've obviously got Arsene Wenger leaving Arsenal. They had years of missing out on the Champions League. To be honest, Man United still aren't fixed after losing Alex Ferguson. Like, still, I don't think have got anywhere near. Yeah, so when you've had like a big manager, you expect there to be an incredibly difficult period afterwards. Pochettino for Tottenham still, I don't think, recovered from that. So yeah, it's been insane. How amazing. He's going to have to be manager of the season, surely. Okay, just look at a couple of the last results since I did the last video. So of course we saw Aston Villa beating Man City, who were on this terrible run. The weird thing about the Man City situation is I don't actually know what exactly has gone wrong, other than just Rodri missing. Like, what is it? Like, what has changed? It's almost like that season where Liverpool struggled a little, and I watched a really interesting video trying to explain it. It was basically saying that they, through so many years of being under Klopp, they had just become like quite tired as a group of players, and so they were, when they were pressing, their starting position was too low, and actually they needed to be higher up the pitch and closer to their persons, because their press just was being really ineffectual and they were being played over the top. I'll be interested to see if that's a similar thing, because obviously when you've won a treble, or how many, I can't even remember what they've won now, it's just they've won everything, haven't they? You need to ask yourself, what motivation do the players have? Do they have the motivation still required? Once you've won everything, do they still want it here? Do they want to move on to something fresh, try a different project? Have they become complacent? Do they think it's just going to fall in their laps? Yeah, obviously Aston Villa having a fantastic season, as are Nottingham Forest. Newcastle beating Ipswich there 4-0. West Ham Brighton. Arsenal beating Crystal Palace. Everton, very credible draw against Chelsea. Everton starting to get some points now. Then we had Fulham drawing with Southampton in that first game for Urich. Wolves beating Leicester 3-0. They needed that. Second year in a row, the Bournemouth have gone to Old Trafford and won 3-0. Insane. Like, absolutely insane. And Hussein, who bizarrely is a Spanish international, even though he's got a very Dutch name. I think my Dutch friend was telling me that his parents are Dutch, but he was brought up in Spain, so he is Spanish. And he was on loan at Roma last year, and I thought he was sensational. He scored for us as well. So yeah, he's a brilliant purchase, absolutely brilliant. Oh, is he on loan from Juventus? I'm not sure. And then this game, wow, 9 goals. It was sensational. And at no point, you know, fair play to them, no point did Tottenham just kind of go, oh, should we just, you know, stop attacking? And it was even in the 89th minute, they were still going for it. However, someone said to me, is Salah, has he ever played better? And actually, I'm not sure he has. Like, I genuinely think that he is at his absolute peak at the minute. Some of the things that he's doing, he's on another level, like literally a different level. Part of me thinks that if he didn't play for Egypt as his national team, if he played for, I don't know, Brazil, then he would have been in the line for the Golden Boot. Well, maybe not last year, maybe this year, maybe the next Ballon d'Or. Then maybe he'll be mentioned, because he's literally just unbelievable right now. Then they got this. Oh God, I watched the end of this match, and literally in injury time, Everton did a break, and it was about 4-on-2, and I thought, oh my God, they're going to win in Manchester. And the player just completely fluffed it. Like, how, when you know there's too many choices, I think he was like, do I go left, do I go right? He did neither and just got tackled by the one defender. And I was like, oh, you absolute idiot. You could have won in Man City. They were there for the taking. Everton's defending, though, wow, just they were doing a deep block, really deep block, and they could have done it for like 3 hours. Man City wouldn't have scored. Their defending has really improved. Fair play to them. But their counter-attacking needs to improve. And then this game, Fulham must have had a very happy Christmas. Who would have thought it? I think it's the first time in decades, like absolutely decades, that Fulham have won at Old Trafford. What am I talking about? At Chelsea's ground. 2-1. Obviously, my boy Wilson from the national team, he's our star player. Cannot understand why he doesn't start every match. Although actually I can, because when he starts a match, he doesn't seem to get good ratings on this app. And then when he comes off the bench, he usually scores an important goal. So, and then Mooney's scoring the winner in the 95th minute. Absolutely unbelievable scenes. Yeah, Fulham have had a very good result against an outstanding Chelsea team there. Shock result of the day, Newcastle making a push for Europe again this year, 3-0 winners against Aston Villa. And then, I didn't see this match, but on form, I think actually nowadays Nottingham Forest are better than Tottenham, and that's just the way, that's the world that we live in now, everyone. We have to accept that Nottingham Forest are the 3rd or 4th best team in England this year. So no questions. West Ham beating Southampton, Wolves beating Man United, just incredible scenes. How Man United are just struggling so much. Fernandes sent off. Again, I didn't see the match, but yeah, Ruben Amorim has got such a big job on his hands. And then Liverpool beating Leicester 3-1. I saw a little bit of this match. I saw Gakpo's goal and Jones, I think. Yeah, so Liverpool just totally unstopped. When Leicester went 1-0 up, he thought, oh, okay. No, not a chance, 3-1. Brentford 0-0, and Arsenal just beating Ipswich with a Kai Havertz goal. Ipswich defended quite well, actually. I thought they were pretty decent for their money. Okay, Championship. Leeds are top, Sheffield are United are second, Burnley, Sunderland, Blackburn and Watford making up the top 6. My team Swansea in 10th, finally getting another win after 2 really embarrassing losses. Not embarrassing as such, but unnecessary losses. Really poor decision making in the previous matches, and Cardiff now dropping into 23rd. After a run of really poor games. Let's have a look at some of the results that I'm talking about and that I'm hinting at. So, for example, we were 2-0 up against Sunderland and then we lost 3-2. Just so frustrating. Bellingham, who's being touted as being someone who is already wanted by some big clubs across Europe. But they're playing well, aren't they, Sunderland? We see Watford beating West Brom, Norwich losing home to Burnley, Luton beating Derby. Then we lost away to Hull. We looked absolutely awful, did Swansea. Hull hadn't won in some huge amount of games. Let's have a quick look. So, oh my god, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 matches. And then the Swans went 1-0 up. Did we? No, we didn't. We were 1-1 at one point. It was undeserved, to be fair. Hull looked like Real Madrid. We made them look unbelievable. We just weren't awake. It was so frustrating. Portsmouth hammering Coventry, which is incredible. 4 goals from Lang. Wow. Cardiff losing to Sheffield United. No shock there. Leeds beating Oxford. Another goal from Dan James. I really hope Leeds go up this year because of the pure number of Welsh players they have is so good for the national team. And 2 poor results for Middlesbrough, look. 3-3 with bottom team Plymouth. And another 3-3 with Sheffield Wednesday. So they must be super frustrated, especially because I think they were 2-0 up at this point. Doak, who's fantastic, and then 5 and 15. Yeah, they were 2-0 up. 14. Oh no, they were. Oh my god, they were 3 up. 3-0, and then they got 3. Unbelievable. What else? And then Oxford, yeah, beating Cardiff 3-2. X1 Pochetta scoring the winner. Despite being a Swansea fan, I don't want Cardiff to go down because it's obviously really bad for Welsh football. Pains me to say that. But yeah, and then there's a weird thing that happened. So Luke Williams, our manager, didn't go into the dressing room at all. He didn't give the speech before the match, and he didn't give the half-time speech. He gave a speech at the training ground before, said, "You know I'm disappointed. You've lost 2 games you shouldn't have lost in a row. We're trying to make a push for the playoffs. I can do everything in my power here in the training ground to sort it out, the tactics, pick the team, get you ready. But when you go on the pitch, basically, you're responsible. It's your job to make sure it happens, to make sure you do what I tell you to do, what I've informed you should do before the match. So I'm not coming into the dressing room." So he got our captain, Grimes, to do the speech both before the match and at half-time. I took a quick look on the quite awful, usually BBC comments on this article. And usually the comment section is just vile on BBC News. But the first couple that I read were really, really positive about this. And I've talked to a couple of people and they thought it was really cool as well. So I hope he doesn't do it too often. But under the circumstances, I think he was just so angry with the team. He sort of said, "Look, I'm furious with you. I've done everything I can. You need to pick it up now." And it actually is kind of clever. It could have backfired, but obviously it didn't. And Cullen, who scored 2 goals for Wales the last time he played for us, scored 2. And Franco, who's been sensational for us this season, the Portuguese, has got his first goal for the club as well. So it was a rather good game. I didn't watch all of it, unfortunately. I missed the first half because I was having Boxing Day, Christmas Day food, but I was aware of it in the background. And another win for Leeds, another Swansea player, Pirouet, scoring 2. Okay, I watched in the Bundesliga. I watched one match. It was the Bayern München match with Leipzig, I think it was. Where are you? Yeah, 5-1. I know that Leipzig have been doing kind of poorly in the Champions League this year. They went ahead with Benjamin Šeško with a fantastic goal. Oh no, they didn't actually. Musiala scored the first one. And I think it was some weird record that they had 1 shot on goal and they were drawing up until the 25th minute when former player Lima scored. I think Lima used to play for Leipzig, didn't he? And then there was a period in the second half, the beginning, so they were 3-0 down. Kimmich scoring from outside the box, absolute stunner. And then they went in, the second half started, and Leipzig were all over them. They sort of moved up the pitch, they were closer to them, they were tackling them, they were pressing really hard, and it was a lot better. And I think they may have even hit the post at this point, or narrowly missed a header or something like that. And I thought, oh, they're going to get back in, this is going to be 3-2, it's going to be a much more entertaining match. And then it was incredible. Bayern Munich basically looked like that Liverpool Spurs game. They just flooded forward. Sane scored, Davis scored, Alphonso Davis, who, you know, everyone is trying to buy at the minute. Will he be at Real Madrid next year? Will he be at Liverpool, I've heard, next year? Will he just stay with Bayern Munich because they're obviously a good team? And yeah, it was just so one-sided. So there were periods of the game when Leipzig was in it, but at home, Bayern look absolutely unstoppable. And that was the match I watched in the Bundesliga this week. But it's nice to see that Dortmund have actually got an away win. I think this might be their first away win of the season or something crazy. But their next game is against Leverkusen, so that's going to be tricky. They're down in 6th, of course. Let's see if I just made up that fact about winning away. Away. Oh, they won in Zagreb away. Do you know what? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I've heard this somewhere. In Europe they've won away, but they haven't done it. Yeah, that's in the Pokal. Yeah, I was right. Hadn't won away in the league all season. But they haven't lost either, so, you know, just hope they can pick things back up. Really pleased with Frankfurt, although they've got 2 losses in a row now. Let's look at Serie A before we look at La Liga. So Inter are top. So Lazio are beating Atalanta as we speak. 1-0, 64 minutes in. And that means that they are 4th still, but 3 points from the top. So there's a 4-horse race at the minute for the Scudetto between Internazionale, Atalanta, Napoli and Lazio. Quite an exciting campaign. Fiorentina having a great season in 5th. Ironically, their very good manager, Vincenzo Italiano, what a name for an Italian, went to Bologna to take over because their manager went to Juventus, Thiago Motta. So Thiago Motta is with Juve. They haven't lost a single game, but they've drawn 10, which is kind of what Bologna started to do. Very, very defensive tactics, solidify the team, and then last year, after a season of doing that, they got into the Champions League spot. So if Juventus fans are patient with that style, the players will get used to it and they'll start winning next year. They could be unstoppable, to be honest, with the money and the players, the quality players that Juve have, because Bologna were very difficult to beat last year, and they've got a much more, a meager budget. They're not, Bologna are a side that are not sort of top 6 usually at all. So yeah, Vincenzo leaves after years of just coming 7th and 8th with Fiorentina, and then Fiorentina end up in 5th. Who is their new manager actually? Oh, Raffaele Palladino. I don't really know him. Managerially wise, Milan's manager is under pressure. The Portuguese, Fonseca, because results are just not good enough at the minute. Drawing at home with Genoa, who are struggling. Draws there with Cagliari as well as Juve. I think they are expected to challenge for the league this year, and they're down in 8th. They're not really going to get there at all. And then you got Roma, who I talk about a lot on this channel as a big fan. Thank God Claudio Ranieri has taken the job, looking a lot better. 5-0 win just before the small Christmas break. We're against Milan, AC Milan tomorrow. So previously, and then Lazio in the Derby della Capitale. the game after. So 2 really tough games, and I just, this is a good send-off for that run of easy matches that we had. If I show you, so he took over, where were we? I think he took over there, or maybe he was there. So no, we didn't. I think it was Napoli. It was his first game. So yeah, lost to Napoli, then drew with Spurs, which was credible. Lost to Atalanta, but then we beat Lecce handsomely 4-1, 3-0 against Braga in the Europa. This game was so weird, we just looked lifeless. Away to Como, and then beat Sampdoria 4-1 and Parma 5-0, so we're playing really well. But is that going to be enough? Because my camera just went funny. Because we go away to Milan and then home to Lazio. And then away to Bologna, who's very difficult as well. Then we have Genoa, Alkmaar, Udinese, which I think we can get results from. Frankfurt would be difficult. Napoli again, very difficult. Milan again, this time in the Coppa Italia. Then Venezia, Parma, Monza, they are winnable. Como winnable, Empoli winnable, Cagliari winnable, Lecce winnable. Then on to Juve, Lazio, Verona winnable, Inter, Fiorentina, Atalanta, wow, Milan, and then finish off away to Torino. So this run at the end is so difficult. They're not broken up at all. They basically got all the winnable teams in a row, and then all the Seven Sisters right at the end. But Dybala looked sensational. So I'm happy that he's fitting in with the new system really well. He should have scored a hat-trick. He passed the ball so that Dovbyk could finally break his duck, and score a goal, and then he gave away his chance of a hat-trick the second time to give the second penalty to, which player was it? The Argentinian in midfield. Paredes, because he just become a dad and he wanted to do the celebration. So unselfish, just a wonderful player. If we let go of him in January, I will be furious. That's Serie A. And then La Liga. I've started, as a Christmas present to myself, started paying for La Liga matches because I've missed Spanish football. Atletico are top after a last-minute win in Barcelona. So they were already the informed team, and they're now. It would be so refreshing if they won the league, actually. I'm not an Atleti fan, per se. I'm an Athletic Club fan, and I also like Valencia. So let's talk about Valencia for a second. Valencia are second from bottom, and they've got Real Madrid in their catch-up match because of the floods. So that's not great. They've sacked their manager Rubén Baraja, who was obviously their club legend. He saved them from relegation 2 seasons ago, got them up to 8th last season, but just can't. They've got too many injuries, to be fair. Their entire back four and goalkeeper are in long-term injuries. So, that's really, really difficult. But basically, Mamadashvili is injured, Gaia, the club captain, is injured, Diakhabi is injured, Correa is injured. They're having a Tottenham. But Fran Perez is injured, and Rafa Mir is injured. So basically a lot of their best players are out. And they were already struggling anyway. They've got a lot of youth talent in the team. They don't have a lot of money. And yeah, it's just a horrible situation. So it looks like Carlos Corberán has been employed. He was with West Brom. Can he save them from relegation? Remains to be seen, but at least it's a decent acquisition. He's a pretty good manager. I don't know much about his style, but it's nice that they've got in, someone. They've got someone from a club rather than someone who just happens to be free. I think they must have paid a fee for him, right? Because yeah, so he wasn't unemployed. They actually got him off West Brom, So that's good. So he was their first choice, basically. Sevilla, 14th, not having a great season. Their next game against Valencia. Real Betis in 9th. Girona now up, climbing up the table a little bit after a rough start. Those 2 games a week not helping. Sociedad as well. Mallorca having a sensational season. They're not considered to be one of the top 6 in Spain, so that's really good. Villarreal, who occasionally dabble with the Champions League spots, but Athletic Club having a wonderful season. I said before on this channel, I think it may be their last chance to get into the Champions League because they probably can't keep Nico Williams, his brother, for another season. I think the Spanish press just constantly talk about where is he going next, who is he going to? Is he going to Barcelona? Is he going to Real Madrid? So I think they need to get into the Champions League with him there because, as you know, and in case you don't, Athletic Club only play Basque players. Now, they don't have to be, as you can see, they have to be born in the Basque country. It's not a thing about being white, for another expression. It's about being born in the Basque country. So, yeah, they're very limited on who they can buy, particularly because Real Sociedad, their local side, is their arch enemy, so they have a lot of Basque players, but they don't tend to allow them to be bought by Bilbao. So they can't just go in for Oyarzabal, for example. He would hate Athletic Bilbao, it's his local rivals. So even when they get money from selling players like Kepa to Chelsea, for example, they got like 100 million for him or something ridiculous. They can't just spend that money. That money goes into the youth academy, and they have to wait for a good crop of players. And at the minute, they've got a really good crop of players. So it's time sensitive. They need to get into the Champions League as soon as possible, or face losing the better players. People like Sanset, who's sensational. I wonder how many years they can keep him. Ranked as 34 million. Simon is the national goalkeeper for Spain. He's ranked as a goalkeeper 30 million, which is really high. And obviously we talked about Nico Williams. What is his actual 63 million? I think he would go for double that, to be honest. But then you've also got the additional aspect of some players are becoming really old. So Yuri Beshish is 34 now. So as I say, it's a really time-sensitive thing with Athletic Club because they can't just go into the market and buy whoever they want to. They are a relatively rich club because they sell, and they use all of that money really and put it into they've got an amazing youth academy. But yeah, they can't just go and, right, okay, we'll buy this really good French player or this really good even Spanish player. They have to have been born in the Basque country. So I think it's now or never for the next couple of years at least. Okay, I hope you've liked this change of style. I've gone a bit slower. I've talked in more depth about things that I've read and things that I've seen, although I've not obviously been able to cover all of the leagues in this video. So yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed it, drop a comment, subscribe, and come and check me out on Patreon if you love what I do. Thank you so much. I hope you've had a lovely, restful, relaxing Christmas holiday period, and I'll see you very soon. I've got loads of videos that I want to do. Thanks for all of the comments on the Q&A video. I've got a list of different videos I am preparing, so I'll get back to you on those at a later date. But yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you again very soon. Take care. Bye 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 bye. Happy New Year.